At least I will not talk to the computer, I'll talk to the individuals. That will be good. If your face will be there, then I can understand who is understanding, who is not understanding, who is learning, who is not learning. So please, 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 you try to start your videos. That will be good for us. And I would like to share my PowerPoint presentation. Is it visible? Yeah, good. So great. Uh, Topic is very good. That we will talk about the issues of CBR, and everyone knows that CBR is the community based rehabilitation. So for the community, by the community, with the community, of the community. So within the community, if you start some services, if you start some rehabilitation programs, then how we can do it, whether we can, what kind of modalities we should choose it. So these are the something which you have already gone through in your previous sessions. Today we will talk, now I will talk about the issues. And while we will talk about the issues, we need to understand the community. So unless and until we will not understand the community, what is community, that will make us a little bit, the differences. So in my process, in my view, or even the many researches that indicates that the community diversity is very important to understand the community. So within the community, there are so many things. The one is the human being, then the animals, then we have the so many physical infrastructures, then we have the natural infrastructure. So everything, uh, whatever we see, whatever we observe, that is our ecosystem, and that is called eco diversity. So when we talk about the community, then we need to understand that we have the different variety of the groups. The variety of the groups, if we talk about the community, then there is some human being, then there is some animal, there is a physical infrastructure, there are the natural infrastructures. And if you feel about that, suppose there is a group also, that if you go into the community and see, there is a group of people, those who are having disability. So there is in one group the people, the women, they are in a one group. So once we talk about the community, so living together in a in a single habitat, in a single natural system, within that diversity is the community. So while we understand the community diversity is very important, and it is also called ecosystem diversity. And it can be defined as a community of interacting group from different species, not only one species. I'm not, if we talk about the community, we should not think about only we will talk about the people with disability. If we talk about the community, we should not think about the only we are talking about the human being. We talk everything within the community. So while you think about the community, community has a very larger concept, it is not a smaller concept. And in a bigger term, community means the support system. So unless and until I said this is the ecosystem means the each one is supporting everyone. So everyone has the role in the community. So what you have to do, what you will do, this is your role is defined as a human being, or as a person with disability, as a the chief of the community, or as a community member. So if you don't support within the community, if you don't contribute in the community, then community will not work. So the community always works with the support system. So each and everyone is supporting, then the community is working. Otherwise community will have, something like that. So what kind of support service is there in the community? So if I'll talk about the support service, it must be when we say ki support service, then it should be the specialized service. If you, I'll just quote one example. If you go to a hospital, then there should be the person, there should be the doctor, or there should be the nurse who is trained to handling your issues. If you go to an NGO, then there should be the somebody there. They have the some qualification, they have some expertise to handle it. If you think about some plumber, or if you think about the electrician in the community, you have to understand, then without the, the skills, without the professional supports, we can't run the community very efficiently. So when we think about the community means the support service, that should be the specialized service. It should not be like okay, I'm talking about the service, then maybe somebody, he can come and he can do something. So that maybe it is not a service, it can be a help to you. But once we talk about the service, once we talk about the system, then it should be the specialized system. So the specialized system can be like baby caring, can be for the, the hospital, can be like the safety of the persons, safety and security of the person. So even within the community, we can talk about the legal system, even not the legal system or the safety of the human being, even the safety of the animals also. Even the, we need to talk about the water, we need to talk about the sanitation, we need to talk about the religious activities, we need to talk about so many things. So if we talk about the many systems within the community, so the system or support services should be specialized. It should not be like okay, whatever we want we can start in the community and do it. It should not be like that. So while we think about the community support, in last two three slides, if I'll go, then first is we need to understand the diversity among the groups. And then we need to understand that each and everyone has to contribute in the community. Then the contribution should be like a support system with a professional skills and knowledge and aptitudes. And now let's think about the what are the issues in the community, and then I'll go into that issues specific to the persons with disability. So the first issue is in the global thinking, the community based issues, the local areas issues, and it has broadly accepted in the sustainable development goal, SDG. So if we think about any local issues, then local issues can have the so many dimensions. Maybe the sanitation is the local issues, but in one community there is a sanitation is the issues, but in another community or maybe in another village or another areas, that can be the maybe the medical issues is the one of the issues. So if you think about the broadly, and if you think about the very bigger spectrum, then we all know there is the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal. So by that we can understand what are the issues, the broader issues persisting in the community. But here I can tell you, don't feel, if we talk about the CBR, we are not only talking about the rural areas, we are not only talking about the slum areas. We talk about the in all communities, wherever you are living, whatever conditions you are residing, whatever ecosystems you are using. So the community can be in urban areas, even in your the in the area, maybe you are living in a pause areas, and then that pause area has their own community. Maybe somebody is living in a village, and village community is based on the caste system, and in a particular caste there are the so many particular caste, and the community living in a particular areas, particular slum areas. So that is one community. So within that community, also within that local area, you see that there are so many economic diversity, there are so many the health diversity, the educational diversity. So all these things has the very minute aspects to understand, and these aspects are already indicated in the SDG. So we will go into that. And then the second is, when we talk about the community, we always feel okay, this is not working, this is not happening, so how to do it. And we always think about the something enabling environment. Enabling environment means where we can have the very much, the easy life, the where I can do all these things very without any with minimum support. So in the disability inclusive society, if we talk about that same concept is there. So where if some person is living in the community or in the society or wherever the person is living, so they should have the minimum access to all services, the accessible services. We talk about the accessible community, we talk about the barrier free community. So enabling, when we talk about the enabling environment, so there we need to think about, if I am going to the religious temple or any place, then there should not be the barrier. Or if I'm going to the hospital, then there should not be the barrier. If I'm going to the bank, it should be for all. While we talk about the inclusive society, so within that community, if it is usable for everyone, if some all people are using same facilities equally and equitable basis, that is very important. Equal and equitable is I'll talk in that, I'm writing it and I'll talk it if I'll get the time. So there is the issue how we can make the community very accessible. This is one big issue, and this is maybe the local area, based on the local area, maybe based on the the economic diversity. So here also we need to understand so many diversities are there. And then there is a community service. As I said, each community need a professional support whenever whatever the problems is there, whatever the issues are there, that should be solved by the very technical person. It is not okay, okay, somebody else comes and he solves your problem. It may be he fix your problems, but he doesn't solve your problems. जब हम प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के बारे में बात करते हैं तो वहां पर तो एक्सपर्ट चाहिए. So if I have some problem, if I have medical problem, then doctor can only solve my problem. If I'll go to the somewhere, then my problem will be not sorted out. So if we think about the community and the community issue, then we need to understand there are the shortage of the professionals, there are the shortage of the skilled manpower to solve your problems. So these are the bigger issues we are facing in the community. And as I said, that sustainable development goal is, so that there are the 17 areas, and each community and has the major issues within these 17 areas. Maybe the poverty, the first one is the poverty, and disability and poverty are very much common. Where is the disability, there should be the poverty. There, where is the poverty, there should be the disability. दोनों भाई बहन हैं, दोनों एक साथ चलते हैं. और जब भी हम, whenever we talk about the poverty, we need to understand the economic deprivation means maybe the person has no access to avail the economic support from the community or economic facilities from the community. So that we need to understand that there is the something is called poverty, there is called the zero hunger means so many even now in country like India, we feel that we are about to control the hungers. We हम लोग भूखे नहीं सोते हैं. Most of the populations they eat, but eating in all the meals, the three meals are the very much important, सुबह का, दोपहर का और रात का. So maybe many of us are not able to get the proper meal, proper nutrition. So these are some basic issues. The good health is the one basic issue. The quality education, where the inclusive education is very important, and then gender equality. We need to think about the clean water and sanitations. This is nowadays we feel that community has the cleaning services. The community has the water services, but whether we are getting the quality water or quality drainage system within the community, that is one major issues in the community. Then affordable clean energy. So there is electricity is everywhere, but do you feel these are the clean energy? So maybe still we have seen that the Gandhi, that Modi ji, he has distributed the gas cylinder to have the clean energy to cooking food. But do we use it? Do everyone use in the community? Do we have the access of the clean energy? So these are the issues we need to the decent work. So even whoever are in the community living, so they should have the minimum wages in their hand. So they should earn in a daily basis, a regular basis. The industries, innovations, the inequalities. Still, we are in India, we have the inequality in different conditions, even the religious inequality. We talk about the inequality in the caste, inequality in the education system, inequality in the the economic system. So there are so many, the community has no balance system. So that is one major area. Then sustainable city, we understood that the smart city project of government of India, they are making some smart city. And even we have seen that the accessible India campaign, that each city should have the accessibility and so many things. So the city, the build up the environment, the physical environment, like road, like transportation, like everything in the community, that should be very important. And then responsible consumption and productions, this is very important. Then climate actions, the life in the water, then life and land, the green, the clean energy, uh, the ecosystem which I was talking about, the how to save and preserve our environment. So the peace and justice, and then partnership for the goal. So these are the 17 major areas where we have to think that if we want to develop our community, if we want, please, kiska mic, Deepa, can you please switch off your mic or start your video? That will be better. So if we want to have a community, then we need to understand these issues in the community. These are the very global issues. And if we want to solve, and how we can engage the people with disability in SDG, so we have to think about the advocacy. The self advocacy is very important. The advocacy within the group. So we need to make the group of people, or we need to speak up what kind of requirement we have. So the advocacy is more about the speaking up, the self determination skills. Once you talk about your needs, once you speak up about your needs, that is very important. So we have to make our advocacy strong in the community. Then we can talk in the community, okay, okay, what are the needs in the community. Then we can go to the national level, regional level, and global level. Then we can think about the SDG. All the issues of the SDG will be solved out. Otherwise, if we don't talk about within the community, if we don't insert the people with disability, the issues of the people with disability in all these 17 areas, we will not able to solve our the global problem or global crisis. So everything start with the community, and it goes to the global, the ranking and all. So let us talk about the inclusion of the people with disability. How can you please, Deepa? Deepa, please switch off your mic, uh, host. Yeah. So I was talking about the disability inclusion, how to include people with disability in each and everything is very important. In each and every activities of the community is very important. So about the people with disability, about the disability and inclusion, so let us think about it. Disability is present in across the community, even the low, middle, and higher income group. Even within the community, we have the so many layers of the economic system. You will find the people with disability in the poor family. You will find the people with disability in the middle income group. You will find the people with disability in the higher income group. So like same in the globally, if you think about that, you will have the same perspective. You will find the in each country we will find the people with disability. So about 15% populations have the people with disability. Approximately 1 in 7 people worldwide have the disability. So if you count 7 people, then you will find 1 people may have this. And the under the RPD Act we have the 21 types of disability. So the earlier our national sample survey organization, they were saying 2.8%. No, if we include 21 types of disability, and if we think about the the in the lens of the disability under the ICF, the impairment, disability, then participation restriction, and in all these scenarios, then disability, the number of disability will increase in the community. So feel and find out and understand that the disability is very much common in each and every community, each and every family also, and each and every types of family also. So how we can fix it? So there is only one thing we know and we understand. If we want to fix disability components in the community, if we want to have the support system in the community for the people with disability, that is very important thing is that the enabling environment. So we need to make the environment very much enable, where each and every people with disability and non-disability and everyone should equally participate in each and every activities. Say for example, if there is a school, then that same school can be available, should be available for the children with disability, non-disability, and everyone. For the people, the children having economic, the deprivation, or maybe the children has the any kind of disability, or any kind of the gender bias, or maybe there are so many the first generation learner, the from the community, first time somebody is going to the school, maybe from his family he is seeing the school is seen by the very first member of the family. So there are so many things within the community, and how your environment is enabling, how your environment is accessible, comfortable for everyone to have their own skills, have their own performance equally or equitably. So that is very important. And how we can make the enabling environment, I'll talk especially for the people with disability. There's a range of significant barriers. There is not one or two barriers. If you go to the physical barrier, you will find so many the barriers in the society, for the physically disabled people, even for even the aged people also, the old people also. So if you think about the barriers, then there is the first one is the very much physical barrier, and second one is the very much important is the communication barrier. So even country like India, even you feel in your Tamil Nadu, uh, after 1 kilometer, or after 2 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, you will see that language changes, that the your dialects changes, your speaking, the communication method changes, the communication modalities changes. So if there is so many diversity, then think about the people with disability within the human group. There are so many diversity of the communication. Maybe somebody understand in Hindi the language, or maybe somebody understand in English, maybe somebody understand in the pictorial, maybe someone understand in the sign language, maybe some understand in the tactile language. So let us think about the the barriers, how we can remove these barriers. That is very much important to make the enabling community, the enabling environment. Then is the services, the services like hospital, services like school, services like bank, services like ATM. Think about, just think about your community wherever you are living. How many ATMs are accessible, where the people with the wheelchair user can go and withdraw his own money? The money is kept by that person, money is deposited by that person, his own money. But due to the inaccessibility, the environmental inaccessibility, the persons, he is not able to withdraw the money. And if you think about the school, if you think about the hospitals, if you think about the your religious temples, religious places, if you think about the something like there are so many offices in the in your vicinity, in your community. like the office of the or district collector office, go to the block development officer's office, go to the panchayat office. So each and every corner should have the enabling environment. And then the last point is very much important. The economic barrier is the very much important. This is everywhere you will find the money is very important, the economic support is very important. And in terms of people with disability, there are some limited funds. If there is a disability in the family, their expenses goes up. Need a lot of the resources to support their families, but maybe they don't find the adequate economic support from the government or economic support from the local community or within the community or within the family, or maybe they don't have the means to earn the adequate economic support or adequate money to help their own life. So these are the barriers we need to understand. Then we can think about the CVR. So what we can do, what we can think about the community services, where we said ki, okay, the services should be the professional services. So whoever working, whoever is giving the support, whoever is supporting the persons, they should have the understanding about the, if I say I'm a professional or any doctors are professionals or anybody is professional, they should have the minimum understanding of the persons with disability. What is persons with disability? What are the types of persons with disability? So if I think about the sub community services, if someone is the the engineer, he should know how to support, how to make the accessible environment for the people with disability while designing anything in the community. So if there is some uh, finance persons, there is some government or some panchayat worker or some the community people, community officers, they should have the understanding. Then there is a 5% or 3 to 5%, the funds should be allocated to the people with disability. If there is some revenue officer, then he must know that if I'm allotting the homes or allotting the lands, then there should be the reservation for the people with disability. So in 100, in 5 homes, I have to keep it for the people with disability. So like that, if somebody is talking about the transportation, so then how you design your transportation, whether the people with disability can go into it or not. So there should be the flow chart. And if you think about this flow chart, you will able to assess the issues in the community that is related to the people with disability. So these flow chart starts very much important. The first is the awareness of the services, whatever the services are available. So within the people with disability, they are understood or they are informed that the schools is also for you, the hospitals are also open to you, the church, and then the temple, then post office, then ATM. These you can also these services you can also use at your home. So if you have that kind of awareness of the services, then the experience of the services, let the people with disability go into the community, then let them experience, okay, whether he or she is able to use that services or not. Maybe some requirements are required, or maybe some accessibility supports are required. So if unless and until there is no experience by the people with disability, then we can't have the much more accessible community. Then leaving the house. So many people with disability, they are still in the house, they are abundant in the house. So once they will come out in the community, see, there is a house bond services, they are getting this all the services, the khana, then kapda and everything in the home, but they're not coming out from the house to the community. Then how he will know that what are the facilities available in the community? The community based rehabilitation service is for the target people. And if he is in the home, he is not coming out from the community, then how he will know? So let's bring out the people with disability from the house, so that they will able to understand, they will able to use, or they will enjoy their community. and then the finances is very important, as I discussed. Then transportation is very important. Then entertaining the services, whether if someone okay, if I'll go to the hospital, or if I'll go to the school, if I'll go to the government office, and if I'm not able to reach to the office, if I'm not able to reach to the department, if I'm not able to go to the the people to whom I need to submit my application, or to whom I need to talk, there is should be the accessible environment, there should be a ramp and all these things, and some waiting areas. There is a some the big huge community attitude that okay, he is a people with disability, let him wait. But it should not be like that. So waiting for an appointment is very difficult for the people with disability. So many people with disability, they can't wait, they have so many medical issues, they have so many things. Then during the appointment, maybe the communication issues big, so he whatever he is saying, there is no interpretation between the community and then the person. And then after appointment, see, if we had all these services, but how I will avail it, how I will enjoy it, that is very important. So if you see that community service, if I said the community service, there is a flow chart in the community service, and that flow chart, we need to understand each and every stage the people with disability they face the problem. So their journey should be very accessible, the community service journey should be very smooth. That we need to think about the community things. So let us think about the next part is the rehabilitation. So about rehabilitation and disability inclusion service, I'm not saying that rehabilitation is now uh, I'm saying that that rehabilitation should be uh, known as the disability inclusion services. It should not be only the rehabilitation. So the word rehabilitation has somewhere it is once the inclusion has came out, the inclusion terms inclusion has came out. So the only we should not say that rehabilitation services, we should talk about the disability inclusion services in the community. Not only the community based rehabilitation, we can think about the community based disability inclusion services. So if we will be very much the clear in our terms, if we will be very much understanding our terms, that will be very easy to implement any services in the community. So rehabilitation is the important part of care service provision. So whatever the care, whatever the the facilities I required, maybe the health care I required, the education care I required, maybe the employment care I required, somebody is there in the some support is there in the community, they will care for me if I lost or if I have no means of getting that care. So once you start any rehabilitation community basis, so you need to have very much important point in your mind that the care service provision should be there in your system. Maybe I had given you this some examples here. Maybe something we need to have the intervention level, maybe some we talk about the disability intervention, maybe talk about the how to stop or how to minimize the impaired condition of any persons with disability. So if we think about impaired condition, the impairment, there is a loss that due to that loss or due to that the diversity, due to that kind of need, the people is not able to access that environment, that services, that care services. So if you have that how the set of intervention you plan, how you can intervene, that these care services or whatever the care services should be very much easy to the people with disability, should be available to the people with disability. By that they can optimize their functioning. So if I'll get some the facilities, then my disability will get down, my disability will reduce. If I'll get some support, somebody is not able to walk or he has some the get disability, that walking disability, so that can be minimized by the wheelchair. So if I'm putting that, reducing the disability, reducing that impaired condition, that is very important in our inclusive development. So think about how you reduce the disability of a person. That should be the goal of rehabilitation. That should be the very much target of the rehabilitation. Think about for each and every person. Think about individually. If you need to have a kind of communication board, if you need to have kind of wheelchair, if you kind of have the counseling services, so many things we need to require. And if there is some the impairment, when we talk about the impairment, most of the time we link to the health condition. This is very true. So maybe somebody has the acute or chronic any disorder or any injury or any trauma. So the health condition is mostly it is a circumstances. So maybe that health condition can be with the lady who has the pregnancy, that can be the this health condition can goes to the persons who are in aging system, the having the stress, or during the COVID we all had the health health condition, acute health disorder, or some impairment in our health condition. So if we think about these kind of impairment, understanding that the acute condition, the health impairment can have at any places, can be there in at any circumstances. So we need to minimize it. How we can minimize, how we can have the reduce these things, the impaired condition. That is how we have to plan for the rehabilitation services. And what we need to have the rehabilitation services, need of rehabilitation services, the growing with the changing health need or the disability needs. And it can be the to the global population. It can be, if I say the global population means for the any age range, for the any people with disability. So earlier we were talking about the three types of people with disability: physical, mental, and some other communication. But now we talk about the uh, 7, then we talk about the 21. So ranges are very much coming in a very bigger way. So if we talk about the all age group, even we within the disability, we need to talk about the smaller children, then we need to talk about the school going children, then adults, and then the job, and then the aged care, and everywhere. So when we think about the rehabilitation benefits, it should have the very the to all. And whatever the rehabilitation service we are planning, so rehabilitation is for all. It is for people experiencing or at risk of functional impairment, not only the people with disability. So maybe somebody is having, he is not, that disability is not visual, or that disability is not certified. But sometime we need to understand uh, the difficulty. Maybe he has very limited disability. Maybe he is experiencing the initial stage of disability. So while we talk about the disability rehabilitation, we need to understand and include each and every person in the community. Not only those who has the disability certificate, they are included. Most of the, I think I have seen that the special schools, the government schools, they talk about you bring the disability certificate, then we will give you the admission. So there should not be issues. If somebody is experiencing any kind of disability, any kind of impairment, that the rehabilitation service should start in the community. So this is the one issue is very important. So in the CBR concept, this is the term community is is not in every case the homogeneous or static entries. There's a there should be within the community, there is a some the some homogeneous, or we can say the static identities or entities that we need to address it. Maybe the within the community we can address for the people with disability, somebody can address the other things. You all can see it. This is on the website already. There are the CVR metrics that is given by the WHO. There are the areas: the health, education, livelihood, social, and empowerment. If you see, if I'll see that the first area in health, there is a promotion of health, having the good health, the positive health. And if you see in the last area of the empowerment, that says the disabled people's organization or self-help group. Means in each area, if the person is empowered, if the person has given the rehabilitation facilities, then they become so independent, they can think about their community, they can own the community, they can work within the community, they can become the community specialist. The service which I was talking about, that everyone has the specialized care. So if we put this CBR metrics in a place, proper place, and if you take in any one of the domain or a combination of the domains in your service, then we can find out, okay, if I took this only the advocacy service, then we need to have talk about the, ultimately we need to talk about the justice, but we need to start with the personal assistance, that the people should speak out, people should have their speaking abilities to express their needs, their self determination ability. Then they can go to the court, and then they can keep their all the matters. So if think think about it, the CBR metrics is a very good models, we can say, we can implement. So there are the barriers. I can tell you that there are the physical barriers. So the physical barriers we need to understand in the community, like the each and every person, everyone experience impairment at some. Please switch off your mic, Minakshi. Uh, if we think about the barriers, like physical barrier, we need to address the physical barrier, we need to understand the physical barrier, we need to have the accessibility, the physical accessibility benefits to all, at all age, not only to the people with disability. So while we think about the community, the ecosystem, the think about the issues in the community, don't say that this ramp is only for the people with disability. This can be used by anyone. Even somebody gets some kind of accident, and maybe he has the some, he may need to use the wheelchair, and then that time also you can see that he is having accessible environment. Recently we have seen the one, there was one photographs of Sasi Tharoor, and that one leader, he was using the wheelchair and coming to the parliament. So the accessibility should be there, and it should not be like, okay, we required now, then we are making it. It should be very much permanent, it should be very much the built up. So there is an Article 9 in the rights of person in the UNCRPD. It talks about the all kind of the physical facilities, the physical accessibilities, even the healthcare and everywhere. So how we can make it? This is the concept of UDL, the universal design of learning, where I'm feeling this is the main issue that we are finding that difficult in the community, that we are not using the UDL principle to promote and design the product and environment or any programs. The UDL means some programs we designed and that can be usable by everyone. So there is a provisions, maybe that see in the first photographs, we need to have a provision of physical accessibility, the walking accessibility. Somebody need the cane, somebody need the the walker, somebody need the wheelchair, somebody need the motorized wheelchair. So providing the facilities as per their need, that is called equitable. So if you are giving the equitable support, whatever whoever required, what kind of facilities whoever required, that we need to plan it very earlier, very very beginning of the support system. So the existing facilities, most of the existing facilities, they don't, maybe some the old buildings, some old schools, some old curriculum, that need to reasonably we can accommodate it. We can some changes we can do it, some some we can make some kind of facilities within that system. So if we can make that system the modifiable, or UDL, the universally designed, or we can say make the reasonable accommodations in the system, then we can solve out many issues in the community, and then we can think about the very good community. So at least we should think about the low cost strategies, where there is a we can make the clear pathway, even we are making some building or making something. So we can think about the where the wheelchair can go, into that. Even you are building your home, building your uh, any community temple, or building any ATM or anything. Think about that. If we make that little bigger space in the, the entry pathway or in the gate, then the people, the wheelchair user, can go into that. So think about the low cost while you are developing. Think about the parking design. So wherever there is a parking, think about, if there is a, this is the parking in the community, then there should be the space for the people with disabilities, that they can easily come and make some park their car. So there should be, if there is some provisions, maybe accessible toilet. If there is a public place, then there should be the accessible toilet. If we are ensuring that there is a height adjustment, then we are talking about the disability on as per their heights also. So if we are keeping the chairs and then waiting chairs, then can we keep some very low height chairs for that the people, those who has the disability in heights? So think about it. Think about some, the low cost thing where we can make that things accessible is very important. And then information system is very also important, equally important. While whenever you are planning the information system, think about all kind of disability. Think about the physical disability, think about the hearing impairment, think about the intellectual disability, think about the whatever you are writing, even in the writing the letters, writing the policy, writing the program, or talking with the people, whenever the interacting with the people, when you are thinking about it. So most of the time, when you see that the major of the government documents, the major of the government policies, even the within the community, if you go to the Panditji, that they, in a temple, maybe he is not able to having the sign language to interpret the religious things to the people with his hearing impairment. So think about the need based, whatever the needs are there. So on the basis of providing providing the information, or providing the any planning, any system, or any monitoring, or any evaluation of the system, we need to think about all kind of disability. We need to take the data of all disability, how many peoples are living in the community, who has the what kind of disability, what kind of systems are required. So identify the disability is very important within the community. How many peoples are living, what kind of disabilities that they have. Ask the questions, and don't ask the what the disability you have. Okay, do you have the mental issues? Don't ask the issues like what kind of functions you are not able to do, what kind of things you are not able to do, where you have the problems in the participation. Instead of asking the impairment, instead of asking the physical or mental problem, mental issues, ask about the where your functionings and participations are limited. So think about the disability data that will be monitored, that will be give you the very bigger pictures to how to make the inclusion, how to make the health service inclusive, how to make your education service inclusive. So if you get the availability of the data, so don't ask I always, you see, if you want to collect the data, if you want to know about your community, how many people with disability are there, what are their needs, ask directly to the people. What happens, it is monitored that the you ask to the parents, or you ask to somebody else, but they are not able to tell you the real people, those who has the problems, they will able to tell you. Then you plan, then you collect the data, then you make the data dependent on that what they need. So within the staff, those who are collecting the data, those who are talking about the disability data, so they should also be trained. And some assistive products should be there, like mobility products should be there, positioning products should be there, daily living products should be there. The person having the vision support, the vision device, the cane or other things should be there, communication tools should be there, hearing aid device should be there, easy read accessible device should be there. So if you make the inclusive your community inclusive, the community should be very much, the accessible. So let us think about these things. And also don't forget, I always feel, even I was with the many international agencies. So within when the disability inclusion is in the emergency is very important. So maybe some disasters, maybe some the natural happenings, the the flood, the fire, whatever it is. So sometimes we are planning the disasters, we are planning for the disasters, we have the disaster management programs, we have the so many things, but many times we overlook the people with disability. So even you are planning some the community based services, there you need to plan the emergency services for the people with disability. And ultimately you can add so many things that I had given you this WHO matrix, that these some I had given you some examples where you can feel about issues, where you can think about the issues, where whatever the issues you are thinking, whatever the issues you are planning, that all depends on your the work, and wherever you want to work, whatever the community you are choosing, whatever the ecosystem you are planning, what kind of the data you are collecting in your community, that what are the numbers of the disability, what kind of disability, it all depends. uh, those were the planning, but ultimately, which I would like to tell you, we need to think about the community based inclusive development. So the community development means build the capacity of each community. So think about the community, each and every person should be the that should be comes into the CBR metrics and all. And then inclusive development means the removing the barriers in the community, removing the where you feel that the people are excluded, the people are not included, removing that components, maybe the components of physical accessibility, maybe the components of the information accessibility. So if you have the very two major things, if you are empowering the community members, and you are having the inclusive development, wherever the barriers you are feeling, the equity and equality you are feeling, that should be given, that giving these two components is very much important. And then what will be happen, if you are empowering the community members, you are giving the inclusive development in the community, then your community will become the complete CBR community, the community based rehabilitation, the ultimate of the community based rehabilitation will complete the then facilitate the development initiatives by the persons with disability and other community members. So if you are giving these two things, then the community, you are empowering the community members and you are removing the barriers, then ultimately you will see your community has developed at a large, and you will see that people with disability, they are doing so good work. They are running some shop, they are going to the school, they are finding their jobs, they are getting married in the community. So you will see these are the developments, these are the initiatives taken by the people, initiative taken by the stakeholders. So if you feel, when your community has these kind of components, when the people for whom you are serving, for whom you are caring, if they are coming out and they are doing some good work in the community, then feel this community has developed, this community has empowered. So this is the inclusive development. If ultimately, if the people with disability, you see in the school, you see in the work, you see in the hospital, you see in the bank, you see in the office, then you see your community is developed inclusively. So that is what I want to tell you, that what you need to make it. And we have here some things, and I have at least 2-3 minutes uh, to make your any if you have any query or any questions or anything, you please keep it here. You can message me,